Welcome to Bulletproof Veteran Podcast. Thank you for your service.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Bulletproof Veteran Podcast. I am crazy excited to have two people on today. I'm so lucky sometimes when I get to talk to multiple people because I love to hear the conversations of the behind the scenes and what's going on in these different organizations. And today is going to be that day for you guys. We're going to have a lot of information, so I want you to hold on tight. Today we have on the show Ron Millward and we have Tiffany Perez. Ron is the founder of Balanced Veterans. Tiffany is a fitness moderator for them. So we're going to be talking about what it means to have a balanced approach to your health and why that's important. Why can you not just go to a normal doctor, normal Western medicine? Hey, this is what's wrong with me. Please fix me. Okay. Some people just go with that route. This is a little bit of a different idea of a kind of a holistic approach, of how can we pull in alternative ways to take care of ourselves, especially as veterans, because we have so many weird ailments. We have so many weird things going on, whether it's degenerative disc diseases, we have heart diseases, we got burn pits that we're dealing with. We have all this stuff. And we always have kind of that monkey on the back of the PTS, anxiety, sleep issues, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about that. But let's first hear a little bit about our two guests today. Ron, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Man, I am incredibly honored to be here. Thank you so much for even having us and for having this conversation and everything you just talked about. We got a lot to talk about here, so I'm excited to dive in.
Definitely.
But yeah, my name is Ron Millward. I am the founder of Balanced Veterans. I am also an Air Force veteran. I was in for around 7 years. I saw, unfortunately, a little bit of combat and really a lot of mental health. And with my own mental health struggle as I was transitioning out, I really struggled. I actually had 2 suicide attempts.
Wow.
And I was just trying to find myself. I was really trying to transition back from wherever I even was. I really couldn't find my grounding or my path back home. And so through that journey, I had lost quite a few friends to suicide, and I had closely become one of those statistics myself. And I just knew that there had to be more out there. There had to be another option. There had to be an answer. And so started to dig, started to really, and this may be the most important thing I say the entire time, is I started to really advocate for my own health. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, I realized that I started to learn what I needed to find balance in my life. And that sparked an idea to start an organization called Balanced Veterans. And with a few other veterans, we created a 501c3 nonprofit. And our mission is the education, advocacy, and empowerment of alternative therapies for veterans and their families. And that looks really different for everyone. There is no one size fits all, even to healthcare, and this is not, we're not trying to be something separate from modern day healthcare or Western medicine, but we want people to just genuinely start advocating for their own health and thinking about maybe other therapies or other tools that they can equip themselves with as they either continue to transition back. I've realized for myself that healing is going to be somewhat of a lifelong journey. There are different, areas that I've arrived at where I feel like I've learned more about myself and I don't necessarily fall back as far, but healing is not linear, and there are different times in our lives where triggers or things will come in, and we've got to know how to face those and to overcome and thrive in life. So that's a little bit about Balanced Veterans. I mean, you mentioned quite a few things in the intro, and I'm excited to talk about them. But one of the areas, so Balanced Veterans has 4 areas. We focus on Operation 1620, which is cannabis. And we focus on movement, which we will have weekly wellness classes. And that's also why Tiffany's in as well. She's one of our fitness coaches and is going to be helping with that. We'll also be having weekly wellness classes, which will include yoga, fitness, like Pilates, things like that, meditation, breathing. So that's part of our programming. And then we have something called mental wellness, which is small groups for like-minded individuals to really heal together, to talk about things that may have worked for them, and to have discussions that you might not be able to have with your VA healthcare provider or, a trusted source. So that's one of the other areas. And then lastly, we have something called Project Triangle, which is really, in the mainstream, even in some of the larger news media outlets, they're talking about psychedelics. They're talking about MDMA. Yep. They're talking about, mushrooms and psilocybin, all of the different compounds that are being used now for healing. And we want to make sure that there's good, healthy education that comes alongside of these things that we already know people are trying and experimenting with. So as more information comes out, we want to make sure that veterans are equipped, and all people are equipped with the best information and education that we can find to safely use some of these alternative therapies. So sort of a nutshell, I will shut up and let Tiffany talk a little bit about what she does. She's incredible. And again, super grateful to be here, man.
Oh, it's awesome. I'm really glad to have you on. And Tiffany, we've been talking for a little bit online. We kind of connected on Instagram a little while back, after I had Matt Hess on. And we kind of were chatting back and forth. And I'm really happy to finally have you on the show, because I've really been looking forward to talking to you. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jason. It's been an honor and a pleasure. My name is Tiffany, you know that. And I'm an 8-year Army combat veteran. As you can see, I suffer from anxiety. So that's part of, that's part of me. And after 8 years of doing my job, and I was motor transportation, it kind of just hit me that this isn't what I wanted to be. I wanted to be someone, I just wanted like a rebirth. Like when I got home, I couldn't sit still. Shopping was irritating to me. I couldn't go to the grocery store. I couldn't stand in line. I couldn't wait to just purchase myself and leave. I was just a mess. And, my wife was advocating me to go to the VA, try something out. And it didn't sit well with me. There was days where I lost myself. There was days where my teeth were chattering. I had some gnarly side effects. And eventually my wife sat me down. She's like, let's try cannabis. Let's see how this reacts. You suffer from anxiety. Time seems to be, I have to be so punctual. I have to. And time was just, I felt like it was running out for me in a sense. And my wife definitely, she put me on towards the program here in New Jersey. I got my medicinal card back in 2017, and I've been rolling hard through it. After a month or two of utilizing cannabis, I started feeling, a difference. I started feeling more motivated, more inspired. Like my creativity went through the roof. And part of that, wanted me to just fix myself first. Like, how can I fix myself first? Started dieting, started cleaning up my act. And I want to share that experience with people. Like right now, like how Ron mentioned, just these steps in life that we reach. Not everything is linear. Everyone has their stepping stools to get where they want to go. It may not be easy, and nothing ever is easy, but getting there is a journey. And I want to make that journey as pleasant as I can. And I want to educate people along the way. I want people to pick at me, my brain. You know what I mean? Not everything that I offer may suit to you, but I want people to pick off of it, feed off of it. Because, sometimes people need that. Sometimes people need that wake up, that person that'll help you out, regardless if it's small or if it's big. I want to be that person. And I'm glad Ron has chosen me to help out the team. And I can't wait.
Yeah. Listen, it sounds like you guys, from the education standpoint, I think that's so important, that there's so many myths that kind of surround everything you guys are talking about. If I go and talk to my father, who's a Vietnam era Army veteran, about cannabis use, it's going to be a tough sell, because there's so many myths from that generation. This stigma that it was this horrible, wacky weed. And I think everybody was watching Reefer Madness 7 and 8 times as they were growing up. And you had this idea that all these bad things are going to happen if you start using marijuana on a regular basis. And it's just not true. And we've proven it time and time again. But I think it goes back to, Ron, something you said. Listen, we're not trying to replace Western medicine. There's a place for medicine. Please, if you have a medical condition, go see your doctor. Nobody is telling you not to do that. But you used the term multiple times when you were speaking, Ron. Healthcare. I have a very weird relationship with that term because Congress loves to use the term healthcare. We're going to come up with a healthcare plan. The last thing that anybody has done in any recent time is come up with an actual health care plan. They've come up with medical insurance.
Right.
They've come up with mandates and prescriptions and all this other stuff. But have they actually advocated for total health care? And I think the answer is no. So, Ron, if you would, and Tiffany, please join in anytime.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about how Balanced Veteran is really focusing on that idea of health care. So you talked about the different pillars that you're looking at, the different programs that you have in there. But why are we doing that? Why not just go to the doctor and, you know what, if I have anxiety, maybe they'll give me some Xanax. If I have high blood pressure, maybe they'll give me some metformin. If I have diabetes, they're going to put me on insulin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why not just do that? It seems like an easy way.
Yeah, it does. It seems like an easy way. It seems like the way that we were taught and told to do, and I think that it all, again, comes way down to an education level. And it starts in, elementary school, starting to educate people on how to genuinely take preventative care measures for their health. And I just think that, man, this is tough, and I try to live my life as authentically as I can. And so I'll be honest with you. I have had a shitty day. I've had a really rough day this morning. I had a couple meetings that went, not the best. And I had my mental health was a little triggered this morning, and I was trying to calm myself down. And what I realized is and I'm connected to a mental health care team. I heavily think that if you can get connected to the VA, get connected, because if you advocate for yourself and you advocate for your care, it can be beneficial. But what I've also realized is that is not, we usually go there, or we usually hit up the instant messenger, what is it called? The My Healthy Vet, or you reach out to your doc when you finally need them. It's never preventative. We're not thinking about man, I should be doing these things to make sure that I don't have to hit that, call or hit the doctor up. So I think it comes back to really educating yourself on a whole entire body perspective, and I think that's why we decided to break things down into 4 areas, because it's not just one thing. It's not take the vitamins and you're good, or take the pills, or do the things. It is literally every day little decisions that we make to find balance. And it's, it's too much of a good thing is a bad thing, and vice versa. And so really figuring out what your body needs, what you need to, really find a healthy journey or path or whatever you're looking to do. But it comes down to a bunch of introspection and really zooming out to see why you are acting the way that you are, why you feel the way that you feel, or what kind of pain you're in. And then think about your lifestyle. Where's that pain coming from? Could it be accentuated by the fact that I'm not eating healthy, or that I'm not moving, or that I'm not doing XYZ? There are times where some of my deepest depressions that I've had in my life, I've realized man, I haven't moved. I haven't gotten outside to walk, and I've realized how crucial it is for movement in our lives, to even just get out and walk, and then to breathe, and then to, so there's so many things before you even get to healthcare that we should be trying to incorporate into our lives to prevent us from getting to the point of needing healthcare. And so, but the government, and man, this gets really tough to talk about, because obviously there are big systems at play, and
of course,
you're talking about a lot of money.
Yeah.
People historically have stigmatized cannabis, because I genuinely believe that it's going to pull a lot of those pharmaceutical sales down.
Of course.
And I think that early on there were a lot of lies that were spread about this plant. And I think that for us to be able to, a lot of people have it in their bios or whatever. I'm an advocate. I'm an activist. I'm a whatever. Really, the moment you start using it, and I think everybody that's listening to this, if you do consume cannabis or use it, you're immediately an advocate. You're immediately the way you present yourself and the way that you educate your friend or your family or the person whoever you're talking to about how you've used it, you do have a responsibility and an obligation to represent the plant well and to help us break the stigma down. Because like you just said, the Vietnam veteran heirs probably need cannabis more than all of us.
I would agree.
And most of those people have been lied to, and really there's a stigma that's there. And if we can have a conversation or they can see us living a healthy, balanced life while consuming and using this and doing other things and changing the world, like I think that is going to speak louder than any education or anything. It's really our own individual light. And so, man, I got kind of far away from your conversation.
No, please.
Or from your question, but it comes down to really educating yourself and stepping back. Like we get so stuck, especially in the military. We're literally broken down. And then from then on, you're told exactly what to do the entire way. And then all of a sudden you get out,
you're
and you're like,
certain way.
Exactly. And like, if we don't educate ourselves and we just continue to listen to the next thing or think we need to follow always, you lose touch with who you actually are and what you actually need. So it's really important to continuously ask yourself, what do I need? What's going on? How do I feel? Check in with yourself.
Yeah.
Now, Tiffany, as somebody who, listen, you've said that this has helped. This process, the use of this plant has helped you.
Yes.
Have you felt like you've been able to be an advocate like Ron's talking about just through use? Because I'm sure there's people, possibly family, you don't have to get too much in it, but, please go as far as you're comfortable. People are judgmental.
Yeah.
Everybody in our lives are. I mean, even our friends are judgmental. It doesn't make a difference. Everybody is. I'm judgmental. Everyone. We all are. So have you felt like you've been able to break through a little bit of that judgment or? Yeah. Okay.
I felt like I've been able to shine a light towards it.
Okay.
And I've been able to set an example to say, look at me, look how much I've accomplished. And I didn't do this sober. I didn't do this heavily medicated. I did this through the use of cannabis. And my mom flipped out. Like when she first found out, and she's a typical Puerto Rican old school mom. She went through the roof. And, my dad sat back and he just stared at me. He's like, I smoked weed when I was your age. He's like, so don't worry about it. He's like, your grandfather used to plant cannabis in the damn tomatoes. Don't worry about it. So hearing that, it kind of gave me some type of security. Like, okay, maybe some people are too enclosed to speak about it and maybe say, hey, you know what? It actually did help me. But, due to the stigma and due to how everyone looks at it, I got to suppress this. But why? Why should we have to suppress, the benefits that we received from it? Mm-hmm. Why can't we be vocal about it? Why can't we say, hey, look, this helped me with this. This helped me with that. Like it helped me achieve a lot. And I think that's a lot of problems we're facing. It's the judgmental, the stigma, but also people too afraid to speak up and just be honest about it and just say, hey, look, it did help me out. And I appreciate everything. I really do.
Yeah. I use my wife as an example very often when I talk about health. She has a autoimmune disease, and right away the doctors wanted to put her on an anti-malaria medication that I actually took when I was deployed. Mm-hmm. And I looked at her when she told me the name, and the name right away, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I know what that is. Mm-hmm. Malaria Monday, you take it once a week. And they wanted her taking it at a much higher dosage every day. And I remember what it did to me once a week with kind of, not to get too graphic, bathroom issues, dreams that I was having. I did not like it. Mm-hmm. But I only took it it wasn't a long period of time. They want her on this long term to deal with this. And so she was a very good advocate for herself and was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to look into an alternative way. Right. She has been able to control her symptoms through 3 things. Basically, intermittent fasting is a big one for her. She is actually an intermittent fasting coach.
Yes.
She's actually got my 72-year-old father doing 18-hour fasts. Now, he is an old Italian from Calabria. If you would have told him not to eat a meal 15 years ago, good luck. He probably would have chopped one of your hands off.
Yeah, right.
But she's got him doing it because he had some medical issues as well. You know, the normal stuff, cholesterol, blood sugar, that type of thing, and got his numbers down. So intermittent fasting, big thing for her. Ketogenic eating has worked really well for her. And CBD use for sleep and making sure that she's getting a good night's sleep. So she uses CBD for that. Those are the things that have helped. And she has never had to go back to that malaria medication. It's huge.
Yeah, look at all that lost money.
I know. They're not happy with her.
They're not happy.
Not happy
sure.
with her. But
They're
it's an
very
alternative. Okay. Again, is that a one size fits all for everybody? Should everybody just say no to their doctor and start intermittent fasting and you're going to be fine?
Yeah.
No. But like Ron said, it's all about that education.
Right.
It's about understanding it. And
balance.
it's about advocacy and balance. Thank you, sir. And the education. So when we talk about the education portion of this, Tiffany, I know you've joined in a little bit with Balanced Veterans for the fitness side of it.
Correct.
Okay. So what are we looking to really educate people on fitness to make sure what is a good fitness regimen that say helps a person maybe get up off that couch if they've been kind of sluggish and not really doing anything? What are our recommendations for kind of getting them up and getting them going?
I mean, it's not one size fits all for that.
Right.
For that particular case. In that moment, it would have to be an individual choice.
Okay.
It's at that moment in time, you have to come to a sense like, do I want to continue to go about this? Like, do I want to continue to sit down, just not be productive, and just not try to find something? It kind of goes hand in hand with what Ron said. It's about like almost listening to your body, listening to what your body wants. And a lot of people have lost touch and they don't listen to their body. And that's where a lot of things stem. We suppress everything, or we're not even in check with ourselves. And that's the thing that helped me out. I remember sitting down and I couldn't get up. My lower back was completely shot. Being at work was torture. I couldn't stand up for more than 45 minutes.
Wow.
Having to go sit down. And it got to a point where I physically couldn't do anything. And that's when I realized I need to cut this crap. I need to cut the crap. And I need to figure out what can I do? Which baby steps can I take? Because it's not going to be a leap. It's not. I got to take these small steps day by day to get to where I need to be. And that's why I wanted to first lose 20 pounds. I ended up losing about 60 pounds.
Wow.
And yeah, right off the bat, it got to a point where my mentor was like, you need to start eating. He's like, you're losing too much weight too quickly. And that could also be a problem as well. So I think finding that trigger to motivate you, even if it's your family, your dog, anything, just your wife, your kids, just find that
yourself.
Purpose. Yourself. Yeah, even yourself. Find that purpose to just start making those steps for yourself. Because that's the only way you're going to better yourself is by taking those steps. And they're baby steps. That's the thing to remember. They're not jumps. It's when people think of that, they get intimidated. That's when they're like, you know what? No, I don't want to go to the gym, or, you know, I don't want to deal with people. Even if you work out in your home, even if you start with intermittent fasting, just to get your metabolism on some sort of regulation, just regulate yourself. Then you can start working that up. Like build yourself a foundation. It's going to stink, but your body will thank you for it in the long run.
Yeah. And I'm sure the baby steps kind of, I like that you said that, because even as far as injury, if you do have certain ailments and stuff, if you do have back issues, knee issues, like so many of us do, shoulders, I got tears in both shoulders, you know, if you just roll up to the squat rack and start hammering stuff out, you probably a couple days later won't be doing anything again. You're going to be back on the couch doing nothing. So that baby step idea is very important, especially in the beginning. If you haven't been doing anything for a while, don't think you're 18 again and nothing's going to kind of hurt.
Like when I start writing programs out to a couple of my clients, you know, they look at me like, really, I have to do this? Or why this? It looks silly. But there's a method to the madness. You have to start somewhere small, especially like you just mentioned, if you haven't been moving for years. I've known guys when I went on deployment that were lifting 230, 250, 350, and they can't move. They're like solid brick. And now they have back issues, knee issues, and they're like, oh, I don't see why. But it's not taking care of yourself, not stretching, not taking those steps that you need, not listening to your body. Because it's all about your body. Your body will tell you everything that you need to do.
Yeah. It's great to be jacked, but if you can't touch your toes.
Yeah, it's useless. It's like, okay, I have a sharp blade, but I got nothing to cut.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But that's how a lot of people view it. And that's fine. But don't be pissed at the world. You know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Ron, so as we talk about this kind of, getting this base now, so we're getting a little physically active. We're looking at what we're eating. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're looking at taking some alternative steps for what to do with our anxiety, our pain, all these other things. How do we continue that kind of education mantra of making sure that we have the right information? Where can we go for some of this information to make sure we're doing kind of the right things? Because in the beginning, it can be very scary. Like you said, Tiffany, you said it, you can start losing weight too quickly. You can overdo marijuana very easily. Become the guy eating Doritos on the couch in his mom's basement. That's not what we want either, and that kind of feeds into not being a good advocate for the plant either, because now you're that stereotype. You just became the stereotype. And you don't want to do that. You want to be a good advocate and show the benefits of what these different things can do. So where can people get some really good information about this? Yeah,
I actually want to back up just a tiny bit, and
please go ahead.
balancedveterans.com. We're about to launch our new platform in the next month, which will it will literally walk you through some steps and get you plugged in exactly where you need to be. And it will then plug you into a peer-based community of other veterans and people that are also on the similar journey, which I think is super helpful when it comes to the motivational aspect. But, I have, sometimes it's really tough, man. I take a lot of phone calls, of other veterans, and some are in really tough spots and trying to figure out just how to move forward and a lot of crisis. And, I really think that when, you asked, how do you get someone up off the couch? And, Tiffany even said it, like they kind of need to be there. Like it comes down to your motivation. What is your motivation? And, it could be other people and, it could be your family and your health and all of that. But I really do want vets to start, and this is going to sound a little bit odd for some of y'all that are listening, might sound a little bit hippie, I don't really know, but I want us to start falling in love with ourselves enough to realize that we are important enough to get up off the couch and take care of ourselves. So like oftentimes this is a compounding factor. It's either mental health at play, you're not eating well, your body's physically in pain from everything we've done in the military and outside. Like I know when I go to the gym, I lift way too heavy than I should just because I don't want to look like a wuss around other people and things like that, so I really do think that it again comes down to taking a big, bird's eye view look at your life and where you're at. Myself, man, I was pharmaceutical coma on the couch, like you explained, and I fought like hell to get off that couch and almost took my life. And, from that journey, I lost 70 pounds myself and had a journey of figuring that out and putting the steps in place and talking to all the professionals. And it's very confusing. And what I will say is like the route that your wife chose and the route that a lot of people choose, this balanced living, this, almost holistic, it is way, way, way harder than just taking a pill. It is literally probably, it's much more difficult of a lifestyle to live healthy than it is to live sedentary and eat the fast food and really just continue to live in that cycle of chaos, which is really getting us nowhere, is what I realized. And until some of us unfortunately want to take our lives or, don't know what to do, or they end up in crisis and, we try to help them move forward. So I'm kind of looping this all in because it's not a one thing, but it's the realization that you need something and then starting to make obtainable goals to move towards those things. Like you can't be like, well, I'm dropping 60 pounds, getting cut, my mental health, meditating every day, taking ice baths, doing all of these things every single day, because it's completely overwhelming. It's unrealistic and it's not something that you're going to continuously keep up with. So it's
Right.
like you said, your wife had 3 things that help her, and it's intermittent fasting, it's a ketogenic diet, and it's the CBD. Like, I think that is key, finding what does work for you. We have so many tools. We have so many different plants and essential oils and, fitness programs and different diets. I went completely vegetarian about a year and a half ago, and it changed my life radically. But I don't recommend that for everyone. And
Right.
it's really, again, figuring out what works for you and trying to set goals for yourself to keep going. But then you're not going to keep going if your motivation is external, if it's for a girl or someone or your family or something. But if it's for yourself, if you love yourself enough because you want to be healthy and you want to contribute to society, that's a whole other level of motivation, man. So I love to push self-love, and it scares some people off sometimes and things like that. But I genuinely think that's the most important ingredient to anyone getting healthy, is it's loving or caring about yourself enough to not want to do that. Think about an anxiety attack and a panic attack, what that does to our bodies. You feel your heart rate rise. You feel your blood pressure go up. You feel everything. It is literally killing you. And so if we can learn to incorporate some tools like breathing and being aware and grounding ourselves, then we're able to sort of take some steps back and start to just try to do things a little bit different. Make those different decisions. Find balance.
Yeah. And I would definitely add on to that. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to have times you're going to stumble. You're going to go
This morning was a shit
backward.
show. I just said it. This morning,
Yeah,
dude.
exactly.
Dude, I like it in your mind. It starts to compound. It's like a dumpster fire, and you start throwing other things on, and it's.
And it's so
And then
easy.
here I'm on a podcast talking about how to find balance.
Exactly.
Like it's literally, no one has it figured out. No guru, leader, podcast, whatever. They don't have it figured out. We're all trying to figure that out. But it's by these conversations that help us, man.
Yeah. And it's so easy to get back on yourself. I see it in my own home, whether it's my wife, hey, I didn't fast the way I wanted to. I didn't eat the things I wanted to today. And it's real easy to fall back into that negative, because now I'll just, I didn't eat good yesterday, so I don't have to eat good today. Yeah. For me, I struggle with maintaining that regiment of I'm going to exercise every day or every other day, or sticking with a program that's good for me. I'm a runner, so if I don't run tomorrow, well, then maybe I won't run on Thursday either, or I won't run on Friday. Now it's been a week. Now it's been 2 weeks. Now it's been a month. It's so easy to fall back like that. It's amazing how the mind works.
It's like a snowball effect as well. Once it's like one bad behavior, you feel it, and then, like you said before, it's like, okay, I'll put on the back burner for tomorrow, and you don't do it. You get caught up with work, and it just continues to snowball. Then eventually, it's a month. I've had times where I'm like, oh my God, it's been a month since I went back on my program. I'm like, I gotta stop. Vacation time is over. I gotta focus back on myself. I gotta bring it back in, because if not, that's how we get lost. We don't bring it back in and go back to the basics, go back to the foundation that you built. We always got to go off and do work and just live, but we got to live for ourselves sometimes too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so easy not to, whether you have kids, like you said, jobs, dogs, whatever, hobbies on the side that you want to get to.
Yeah. And now
not
COVID
always
as
all
well.
Right. Yeah. Throw COVID in, we're all in trouble.
No one's out.
Nobody's out. Everybody's got this. Everybody's dealing with it in a different way. Look at the gyms. I mean, trying to get to the gym, getting gym time in. That's why I think it's so popular right now to try in-home working out and getting a little space set up for yourself, so that you can do things at home, whether it's just, listen, my wife was upstairs yesterday doing yoga with the 2-year-old trying to do a back bend next to her. Now, I thought it was cute as hell, but I'm pretty sure it might have been a little distracting for her, but it was cool and it was fun. And listen, you're still getting it in, you're still doing it.
Yeah,
and that's the key. That's definitely the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of, with Balanced Veterans, like what we're trying to do. And, we've got quite a team building here of some really, really solid, we like to call them aces in their places. And, people like Tiffany that are here to help a veteran that's going to come and ask those questions. What do I do? Where do I start? How do I XYZ. And I think for us, our goal and what we've been working really, really hard to do is create quality content that will educate. But then also we want to give people opportunities to, like you said, if I don't run one day, I'm not going to run the next day. I'm not, and it starts to pile up. But I think if we have some peer motivation and, we set some different challenges up. And so we've got some ideas around doing, like a meditation challenge just for people that may have never done it before. We'll do like 10 to 15 days where you jump in with another group of people that are trying it out for the first time or whatever that might be. Same thing with fitness, like just creating some motivators that people want to, you got a team, you got some other people around you. That's what helped in the military. It was to have some other people pushing you and checking in on you and accountability. Exactly. Yeah. And then really once that accountability is there, we start to grow our own self-discipline because we see the benefits of these good things happening in our lives. And so that brings us back to when you haven't ran for 4 days, you're like, well, shit, I better get back on it because I know that I need that. And I know how important that is for my mental health and my body and all of those things. So, but it's tough because I don't know. I myself, I constantly go back to my journey and it was difficult at times and figuring out how to prioritize what's important is not always the biggest tool or skill that we have as veterans or people. It wasn't for me anyway. And a lot of the people that I talk to, it's the same way. It's like prioritizing what's important to move away from whatever lifestyle you've created. Because a lot of times we've dug ourselves in these holes. We've isolated. We're on the pharmaceuticals. We're going through divorces. We're miserable with people. We've got the bankruptcies. We've got all of the literal chaos that can come in from the outside world comes in for, some veterans. I don't want to put everybody in this category, but from that spot, those are where our 20 to 22 veterans are committing suicide every day are coming from. There are a ton of high functional veterans, and that's fantastic. I think it's a beautiful thing when people figure out the balance and what works for them. But there are so many people that aren't connected to social media, that don't have a peer support network, that don't have anyone to like hold them accountable or help them. And so really with what we're trying to create in some of these tools and why we have an off of social media platform that we've developed is because we want people to feel like they can have these conversations safely. They're not tied to social media. They're able to come into a group that's going to connect them to professional help. At the end of the day, we are wholeheartedly, and please hear me say this, I am led by professionals and we, connect people to professionals because it's really important. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but, it's incredibly important for us to have those, on our team and advising with some of these conversations and things that are happening. So, this is a puzzle that I think most veterans, we all know about veteran suicide. We all know about the homelessness problem and the opioid addictions and things like that in our community. And we're all trying to figure out like how in the world do we impact that 20 to 22 veterans a day? And, we don't have it figured out at all. Like, hey, here's the answer, here's the goal. But I think together, collectively, by having conversations with other veteran organizations, people that are also trying to put a dent in this, I think the right people align and we're able to create some platforms for people to come in and get the help that they need. But it's tough because it is such a spectrum. There's no one lane for someone to go. It's like, hey, you're in a crisis, go here. Even the veteran crisis line, when you call it, it's an immediate triage of, okay, what's going on? Right. Is it financial? Is it mental? Is it, are you, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs? It always comes down to that. Where are you on that spectrum? Do you have housing? Do you have food? Do you have water? Things like that. And so, with the team and with the funnels and things that we're trying to create, we're hoping that when a veteran comes to the page, they'll be prompted with some questions and they'll immediately be plugged into something that will help them at least gather some education towards an alternative therapy. It will get them plugged into an intro level class for an alternative therapy. Or if they're ready for it, we'll get them their medical marijuana card for free. That's so awesome. There's a ton of different avenues that we're creating to be able to capture any veteran that may need the help. And then on the back end, there are just a bunch of genuine veterans that love other people and are there to help and just want to help put people in the right direction.
Have you found it difficult to find professionals that are kind of cued in with the holistic way of looking at life, using cannabis, getting in more physical fitness, this type of stuff? Has it been kind of difficult to get those professionals so that you have those people to go to?
Believe it or not, no. And
Oh, great.
I'm really grateful for that because, we've got every day there's an email from someone that's amazing that wants to figure out how to help us. And I'm trying to wrap my head around how to plug them in and get that, to be effective. But I think the difficulty is in, really making sure that it's like valuable and it's not, there are, this sounds terrible. Like we want to have the right people caring for our people that understand and believe some of the similar things that we do. So there's always a conversational vetting process. And I think that with cannabis being so mainstream now, I mean, look at stocks right now, look at headlines everywhere. I mean, there's something shaking and moving. And over the last year, we have had our number of doctors that are certifying veterans has increased substantially just because there are more people that are now like, oh, I need to look into that. So we're really, this is going to sound a little odd. We're educating professionals, like there are people that are like, hey, give me the basics of cannabis. How does this work? What is CBD? What are terpenes, cannabinoids, receptors, things like that. And I think that, it's important to find the right people. And there are a lot of really great physicians that are understanding these plant medicines on another level. Like they've done the research, but you can also tell there are a lot of people that are just jumping into it because the mainstream has started. So it's really important for us to find the right people to be on our team to really care for veterans. I answered that long again, man. I'm so sorry.
No, that's great, man. I love it.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
the passion behind it.
Exactly. That's what we want.
Yeah, we care, dude. We really care.
No, you can tell.
Shows.
Definitely.
It shows.
But so I guess the tough part, which is sitting in the background of all this, is the VA. Now, Ron, you said that you're connected to the VA. Yes. Tiffany, if you feel comfortable answering, are you connected to the VA in any way?
Yeah, I still am, but I distanced myself from them.
Okay.
After I was kind of almost misdiagnosed,
mm-hmm.
I kind of felt kind of scared, so I backed away. But I am still affiliated, and I still go there and do my checkups. But when it comes to medication, no thanks. I'm good.
Yeah. And I think that's what's kind of in the background in my head is okay, I'm a veteran. I decide medical marijuana is the way I want to go. Okay.
Right.
I've listened to you guys talk. I'm into it. I try it out. I'm happy.
Okay.
Now I'm nervous about going to the VA for my physical. Now I'm nervous about getting my normal checkup, or if I have something a little bit bigger, like I have heart issues. So now I want to go see my cardiologist, maybe at the VA.
Yeah.
This is an education problem, isn't it? Because
it is.
I'm okay.
It is. Yeah. It's like an elephant in the room. And then when you try to explain how much it benefits you, like my doctor, Ron may have a different story, but with my doctor, my physician, she looked at me and I saw her taking down notes, but the look in her face was more of like a judgmental stare. Like, okay, I see what you're doing. I see but okay, here's your medical records, good luck. And that was it. I parted my ways and, I said, fair. I don't need to have a happy ending with anybody. I just got to work on the next step. I got to work on getting my medicinal card. That's all I kept thinking about was, let me give this a shot. Because if not, I can't go back to this.
Yeah, and it definitely comes down to an education thing. It's right on VA's website that if you are on a state-appointed medical marijuana program, you are you're not protected, but you are allowed to. And that's the problem: is there is no real federal protection.
Of course,
this is federally classified as it is, and so it's very important that part of our organization is the education, advocacy, and empowerment, because there are still any day. The VA could make the decision to say, and I don't even like saying this because I don't want to turn anyone away from cannabis, but it's a reality. Would this ever happen? I don't think so. I think this would cause a literal uproar, but anyone that has cannabis use disorder marked in their VA records is no longer receiving benefits from the federal government. Like that, in my mind, would be the worst case scenario. There are no real protections that are put in place for anyone that is on that program. Now, there was a bill that was just introduced, and I believe that is to set protections for that on a level like, hey, if you're on a state program. So my biggest advice to veterans is that you are protected. I talk to my VA providers regularly about my cannabis use and how it helps me, and they're impressed. They've literally seen me, change, lose all this weight, become a different person, all of those different things. And again, it is not just cannabis. I need people to hear me say that. There is so much work that goes into it besides just cannabis. But that cannabis helped me to get to some of that work deeper. And so, being able to protect yourself, the only way to do that right now is to be on a state program. And so, that not every state does have a medical program. A lot of them do. In Pennsylvania here, we have a medical marijuana program. And as long as you have that card that says you're on that state program, the VA just marks it in your record and you're good to go. And on the website, it says the same thing. But we have work to do to continue to change this legislation on a higher level, because we need those protections. I feel like we deserve to have those protections. And even in Canada, they literally prescribe and hand out cannabis to veterans. Now there's programs around that, but that is through their VA system. We're working with a couple orgs that are in Canada as well. Veterans for Healing. Fabian Henry is a rock star. Just want to mention him, Afghanistan vet. So I think that we're protected, but we're not fully protected, if that makes sense. So there's still work to do, and it's part of why we exist, and it's part of why the education is happening. And I'll continue to use plant medicines and educate and go to the VA because I believe in it. And I think that they're starting to come around and see the benefits on a huge federal level. We're looking at a big change coming very soon.
Yeah, I think you're going to see it. I know
it's coming.
I've been saying this for years, but I think the tide is finally starting to turn where, listen, the states are making it legal, not even just medical. They're making it legal.
Recreational.
Recreational use. New York is going to probably be the next one to go. It's going to be a big one. When New York goes, that's going to be a very big one. There's been pushback at the state level for so long. And I think finally it's going to tip. And it sounded, when Cuomo did the State of the State, he actually mentioned it, which was a step in the right direction.
Right.
I think at the federal level, within Biden's 4 years, I think you could at least see it removed from the Schedule I category.
For sure.
Declassified.
For sure.
I definitely see it being declassified. I hope, I really do, because I think it's ridiculous. And you were talking about how there's so many groups that are pushing probably in the opposite direction, pharmaceutical. I think big alcohol and tobacco is definitely pushing to not, because I think alcohol will probably take a tiny hit, not a lot. Listen, people that want to drink are going to drink, but I know from a lot of friends, the ones that smoke recreationally don't really drink with it.
You got to watch some of these companies, because now some of these larges, and that's where like stocks come into play. You see these people like working together to create a CBD infused soda or a lot of this stuff is going to happen, and and that's the other scary part, is we're all just talking about cannabis as though it's one thing. And there is there are different levels here. We've got corporate cannabis that's lobbying against people being able to home grow. And, there are a lot of different, and I don't want to get into it in this podcast because we could literally have a whole podcast around the different modalities around cannabis. But it's just important to realize that, especially when some of these big players come out and they, we support veterans or we whatever, sometimes they're lobbying against our ability to be able to home grow our own medicine. That's not supporting veterans. No. At all. And I think that we need to be able to have the ability to grow these plants if that's what we choose to use for medicine. So I'll step down off the home grow platform.
No, that's fine.
I just have gotten to see it transform and change so many veterans' lives, man. I've watched veterans show me their grows, more excited than anything I've ever seen. Like, look what I did. Like this, blah, blah, blah. It's such a therapy that people do not even realize is there. I mean, look at yourself when you have a house plant or your garden. Imagine growing your own freaking medicine. That's a whole other level, man.
I think anything that's a healthy hobby that you're in control of, that gives you happiness, is a good thing. Okay, so whether that's home brewing alcohol, whether it's home brewing beer, I've done it for years and I geek out on it. It's very
love craft beer,
relaxing to me. There's a science to it, so it gets my brain going. The same thing. Listen, I like reloading ammunition. I do it one bullet at a time. I have an old style press, and my wife thinks I'm completely insane.
Ammo's expensive.
First of all, ammo's expensive, and I'm going to the range. I'm not getting raked over to coals. Right. But at the same time, there is this, I put music on. There's this little, I pull down the lever, next one in, I pull down it's this repetition. It's so relaxing to me.
Man, you should try rolling a joint.
Oh,
See?
Talk about relaxing.
yeah.
You know, especially when you get good at it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but all of this stuff, Tiffany, I'm sure that you could advocate for that same kind of mental stimulus that you get from making programs for physical fitness and diet and things like that.
Yeah.
You get that
There's an
benefit.
art. There's an art to it. Like, it's not just, oh, I'll sit down and just write a program. Like, no, I want to get to know you. I want to see, you know, your behaviors, how you are as a person, because then I can determine how I can craft you. The first step is, what do you want to benefit? What do you want to do? Because you can come to me, oh, I want to lose weight. They're just the generic questions and answers. And I just want to completely push that to the side and try to gear it in a different direction. You know, tell me what you want to achieve. And if I can't do it, I can send you to someone who can. Like, maybe you want to be a yoga, you want to get into yoga. All right. I mean, I'm strength and conditioning, but I can send you someone. I can network you out to someone who can give you the you know, whatever you want to do. But I would love to see people try new things. Even if you don't like weights, if weights intimidate you, that's fine. There's always somewhere else to get your workout in, and there's always another way to find your happy ground. That definitely, I see that, because it just brings me so much happiness to see people like, oh man, you know, I leveled up in weights today. I went from 10s to 15s, and it's like, great. You know, then eventually you'll be like Ron, lifting heavy at the gym and getting your workout.
Yeah.
But it's the baby steps, and that's always something, like, even with fitness, it's the small steps. Don't be intimidated by it. Yeah. I started out lifting out with 10-pound little curlers and a 2.5-pound damn kettlebell. But you know what? I got to where I got here because I put the work in and I had that repetition. I made sure I set a time block for myself to wake my ass up, get my ass in the car, drive to the gym, drive back, take the protein shake, get to work. It was just for like a year and a half, just that constant thing. And I knew I had to do it, because if not, I would have been checked out. Absolutely gone.
And you got to have that jamming playlist. No matter what you guys are doing,
always.
You gotta have that playlist.
It has to be there. If not, then what is it?
Wait, really, what are we doing?
What are we doing here?
No, I'm complete honesty. I am one of those people that was always intimidated by weights. I am a scrawny Air Force veteran. Okay, I deployed with the Army. I'd go into the gym on base, and there's these jacked guys just lifting, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, it's not looking, maybe not. But you want to go for a run, that's where my confidence would build, because I could run forever.
And I think that's healthy too. I think it's healthy to realize, like, I can't do what they can do, but I have something that they can't do.
I got my own.
So if anything, we could change. You know, you want to run? Come with me. Teach me how to lift weights. Let's have that exchange. Let's exchange information and intel. It's more beneficial, and it's probably more rewarding. I find that very valuable. Like, I love chatting. Like, I probably would love to go on a run with you, Jason, and just shoot the shit. And I'm pretty sure you would come and lift some weights.
I would, yeah.
It's having that.
I don't want to go on a run.
No, you don't. No, there are people that you say the word run, and all of a sudden you turn around. Where'd that guy go?
They run, yeah.
They run. I'm like, hey, look, see, I made him do it. And listen, everything that Tiffany, you just talked about goes back to Ron, this network. So being able to get to the right person is so important. And I'm glad to see, like, even if you go to your guys' website right now, the box pops up right away and it says coming soon, the network. And you're actually wearing the shirt right now. Awesome. Got to represent. That is so key to success. Having that network, getting you never want to say no to somebody. It's kind of like, we were all in the military. We all went through inspections. Saying I don't know to somebody that's inspecting, whatever officer was in there doing the inspection, is always bad. Saying I can get you that answer and being able to go into an order or be able to get something or get some information, you'll never get in trouble for that. So having that network and being like, hey, listen, I'm not your guy. I'm not your girl, but I can get you somebody.
Right.
That is awesome that you guys are doing that. Now, time frame wise, how are you guys looking on getting the network up?
Yeah, and thanks for mentioning that. I mean, there are, I think, over 2.5 million or 2.5 million veteran-owned businesses in the United States, and I believe that that's crucial. That means that like veterans are doing amazing things, and we just want to come alongside other organizations that are doing amazing things and connect veterans to them. And so this was never something to come and intimidate any other org. We want to help. I mean, we are legitimately here to like it says, network with people and connect them and plug them in. It's great to do things virtually, but imagine finding that connection and peer-to-peer support right in your own like location physically. So we're trying to expand that and just continue to create connections, because it's really cool when people are able to plug into another group of veterans like in their hometown where they're at, which is our goal moving forward. But yeah, so we have been in development of this for quite some time. We've got some beta testers that are testing out our like sort of forum educational area and asking questions and uploading content. And Tiffany's been a huge part of that as well. And it's coming together, which is nice. But as far as our platform, we're looking at about a month until we launch. We're going to do a lot of really exciting things leading up to that. We've got some really cool t-shirt designs coming out and some free stuff to give away. We've given away over $11,000 worth of like things, medication devices and CBD and other stuff like that. So we're going to make it really fun as we launch and release this. So, if you do want to, be included on what's coming up, head to our website, balancedveterans.com, and put your email in there. We'll continue to release information as that becomes available. And then one thing I want to make sure that I say before we finish talking is, this organization is built by so many amazing veterans and people. And, a lot of times it's like me doing a podcast or whatever, but I want to make sure that I recognize and represent our entire org and shout some people out. So if
please.
you give me a moment, I'd love to say
definitely.
Thank you to the team. Caleb Masoner is the executive director and, does a ton of stuff to help us with all things business in the org and ideas and all that stuff. And then Derek Carver is our vice president, and he was a disabled strongman in 2015. He's also helping with a ton of the fitness stuff and total world changer. And then we've got Darren Harris, who is also an Air Force veteran, and he has been doing a lot for our creative, a lot of the video creation and stuff like that. And then Julia Thompson, who leads all things females, and she's a total badass, has been advocating for military sexual trauma for quite some time, and the Vanessa Gillian. So it's very important. And so, there are so many people that contribute to what we've got going on, and to everybody that's donated and believed in us and has helped us. I just want to say thank you. And I appreciate you allowing us to come on here and talk about what we do a little bit. And I hope that maybe someone listening, might hit that link and connect with us and find some freedom, find something maybe they didn't know about.
Listen, like I said, this idea of the network and being able to help as many people as possible by connecting all these veteran organizations. Because like you said, there are so many veteran organizations out there. The problem is finding them and connecting with them. And there has to be kind of.
And the good ones, there are a lot of stagnant orgs that aren't really doing anything. And that's tough. Some of these large orgs too, I'm going to call their asses out. They're getting millions and millions of dollars and not doing a lot to help. Yeah. So.
And where is the money going?
Where is that money going?
People need to be honest with where their money goes.
Full transparency.
If you're a 501c3, there should be no reason why you don't have your documentation right there on the website. You click it or whatever a way you can get to it, and you can see, hey, we spent X amount of dollars.
Yes.
Going to marketing or whatever, and the rest goes right to the veteran or whoever else we're trying to take care of.
Absolutely.
One thing that I always like to ask, if I can, we talk about veterans, so important. We're helping veterans. We're connecting them. The veteran family, spouses, things like that. Have you looked into connecting them as well? Because there's so many spouses and children that need assistance because they've been through so much with the veteran. I mean, it's intense what they have to go through to support their partners along the way. Have you looked into that at all?
Do I have time for one more small story?
You got all the time in the world, man. I ain't going nowhere.
Go ahead.
That, to be honest with you, I have spent a lot of time thinking about this, and full transparency, I have been a nightmare with relationships sometimes and really figuring that out. And, I know the hell that I put my family through, my mother and my partner and all of that. And it's tough. And I really do realize, understand, and respect the literal service that being partnered or supporting a veteran is. You are literally continuing to serve your country by supporting these veterans. And I feel like there's not a ton of help and support out there. And so I got a phone call, and this again goes back to the balance. I got a phone call last a week and a half ago. Doesn't matter. Irrelevant. Sorry. I'm trying to get better with time. I'm really bad with time. So
It's
I'm
all
trying
good.
to hold myself accountable. Anyway, gave me a call, and it was really tragic. One of the folks that was engaged with us digitally on social media, he was an older Vietnam veteran era that found cannabis and used it and legitimately felt that it was the way. And, it's all that he used, and really completely relied on that and made it a crutch and isolated and just continued to grow their own cannabis and use that. And, it does help. It will get rid of some of that pain, and it will, but it can also mask some things, and it can really hide emotions and help you just sort of forget about things and stuff like that. It can be used negatively. And unfortunately, that's what happened with this veteran. So he got really into cannabis, used it so much that he stopped going to VA appointments, stopped going to get care because everything just felt good. Everything was fine. By the point he was too sick to really walk, they went to the VA and realized that his entire body was riddled with cancer. And that for the last 2 years, he hadn't taken care of himself. He had not gone to checkups and just all kinds of, it's a spiraling effect. And obviously this is one story for many, but then I got to sit on the phone with this wife, this spouse, and man, I was sobbing and she was crying. I mean, it was such an intense conversation to listen to the hurt that man had put that family through. He literally one time went out in the living room, shot their dog in the head. He destroyed 7 TVs. And they had a 13-year-old daughter that was watching all of this happen. And so now she loses her father. She's 13 and has to repair all of that over her whole life to, what she saw her father do, what he went through, and then he passed away and things like that. And so I've realized the ripple effect of the trauma for a veteran on families, and it's devastating. And so we have a place for families. When we say we support families, that's there. And, it's early. We don't have a ton of support there, but there are some other organizations that help out. And we've recently connected with like VA caregiving service. That's something that I think every single veteran that's listening should know about also. Even if you're not physically incapacitated to move, you still have somebody that cares for you, and they deserve to be cared for as well. And so with that, you're not always going to receive a financial compensation, but to get your partner caregiver status, it allows them to get some VA counseling, mental health care. And you can also be enrolled in one of the other forms. And I don't want to get this wrong. So it's va.gov/caregivers. There's all kinds of information there, but they'll give them access to some of the same care that we have, which is really helpful for these folks. And then to also have peer support groups to be able to talk, other partners and people to be able to talk about some of these things that happen. And unfortunately, they happen. There are horror stories in our community, and it's devastating. And the ripple effects are really, they're endless, and it's sad. It's devastating, and we need to be able to support and care for them. So it's early. We're figuring out exactly how to care for them best, but there is a place for family members to connect.
I'm very happy to hear that, because I agree. I know how much I lean on my wife on a regular basis, and I know what I've put her through the years. I am not easy to deal with. Got patience. But to have something there for education, information, mental health, whatever they need, that's important, because I think they get left behind a lot, and that's not right. Because like you said, you're serving your country. That's the way you're serving, by caring for that veteran.
Right.
And it's sad. Even in that same situation, there were so many things that veteran did not do to support his family. Like they didn't get we all get like a free $10,000, I believe, if you just sign up for it for, life insurance. There's something there. And
there's a burial and life.
Burial, all that. He never did any of that. Left the family with all of these expenses, was like combat Vietnam. It's really, really sad. And so even to bring these families in, to be able to give them that education, like, hey, just make sure your veteran has this figured out, or whatever the case might be. It's tough. I hear a lot of traumatic stories. It's really difficult. Pretty much immersed in trauma, but you know, it's helping people find balance. And I think that it's these stories, they're meant to be shared. And even when I spoke with her, she was like, I want to share this to anybody that'll listen, because I don't want these families to have to go through what I did and what my daughter's going to go through now. So people don't realize the ripple effect of like our decisions.
Yeah. And it's easy to get in your own world. It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's all about me. I'm the one who went through something. So it's
exactly
me.
I went through something.
Yeah. So, guys, listen, I've had a blast, but I want to give you an opportunity. Where can people find more information? Social media. Tiffany, please, also your social media information. Where can people find you guys and what can they do? Ron, go ahead first.
Yeah, balancedveterans.com. Again, we'll have that new platform launching in about a month. And then we're all over social media. So just at Balanced Veterans, Balanced Veterans Network on Facebook. And then personally at Ron Millward. So thanks again for this time. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad we're connected.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, definitely. Tiffany, please, you too.
All right. Well, thank you, Jason. Thank you for having us on. My platform, I use Instagram. It's La Ex Machina, or La Machina, which is the machine in Spanish. I'll give it to you so you guys can hyperlink it in the bottom, because some people probably won't figure it out that easy. And you can also reach me out through my email, tiffanyperez0221@gmail.com. And you can also connect with me through Ron on Balanced Veterans on their platform as well. So I'm found around. You can find me.
Oh, you can find you.
Yeah.
You can find me.
And if you like seeing pictures of Manhattan and stuff like that, definitely follow Tiffany, because she's always putting up these awesome pictures of Manhattan. And I haven't been in the city in a while, just with COVID and everything like that. So I'm living vicariously through you. You know,
that's what I want. That's what I want. I want everyone to just live through each other, because we're all different in our own ways. And we all need to just feed off of each other and just be each other's cheerleader at the end of the day. That's how we're going to get through this.
Hell yeah, we are.
Cheer on for each other. We got to do it.
Definitely. Well, guys, thank you so much. I've had a blast talking to you. A lot of information. I hope everybody takes advantage. Head over to balancedveterans.com. Get all that information. Look out for the network. Start following these guys, because there's going to be more and more coming out. Be an advocate for yourself. Be an advocate for what works best for you. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not working. If it's helping you and it's helping your family, keep it up. For everybody out there, please listen to what both of these people are saying to you. So again, thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.